Recipe strategy number 1. One of the biggest questions that we get is about recipes. Where do you find your recipes? Where do I go to find recipes? How do I find a recipe for pizza or lasagna or this or that? You can find inspiration for a recipe anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. So the recipes you've been using up to this point, you can still use them, and I'm going to show you how to convert recipes that you already have. All right? So converting old standbys into newly inspired, health-promoting rock stars. So this is an example. Skillet lasagna. This is one of those easy lasagna type of recipes where you just kind of put it all in a pan and let it rock and roll. Okay? So this is actually already a pretty decent whole food type of lasagna recipe. Who could imagine it could even get better than this? But we're now going to use what we've used in food sourcing and in meal planning as it relates to nutrient balance. We're going to make this recipe even better. So first and foremost, you've got 1.5 pounds of ripe tomatoes, diced. How can we make it better? If your tomatoes came from the farm stand or the CSA in your town. Do you know the guy who grows your tomatoes? You'll be in a lot better shape if you do. So local or organic tomatoes are going to make it even better. Kosher salt or freshly ground pepper, you can make it even better. Redmond's real salt or Celtic salt. The gray salt. These salts have a lot of trace minerals in them, and they're going to deliver a lot of nutrients that a regular salt isn't going to, or a processed salt is not going to. The ricotta cheese, we've all learned this, dairy products especially, organic whole milk ricotta. We're not looking for skim here, we're not looking for fat-free, we want the whole milk, because that's the way it comes out of the cow, right? Never seen fat-free milk come out of a cow before. So we want it the way nature produced it. 1 large egg. Do you know your hen? I don't know my hen either, but I know the farm where my eggs come from. So instead of just a regular large egg, you want a local egg where the chickens have had the opportunity to run around on grass and eat bugs and eat gravel and all the things that chickens do. Right? Because if you were a chicken, that's what you would want. 6 sheets of no-bake lasagna noodles. Sounds pretty simple, but you can do even better and get organic lasagna noodles. Why would we want organic lasagna noodles? Because it's a fad and Jake thinks it's cool? No, because wheat is one of the top GMO crops. And we don't necessarily want to be science experiments. Do we remember this conversation? If you don't mind GMO foods, then buy the regular no-bake lasagna noodles. For myself, I want to make sure that my food doesn't have genetically modified ingredients, and this is why I buy organic lasagna noodles. Okay? So there's always a reason behind why we're doing this. We're not just doing it because we're told to. 1 carrot peel. Comes from the farmer's market or comes from our CSA as well. Local or organic carrot. Zucchini, same story. So can you imagine, with just the changes we've made up to this point, how much different this recipe is? We've eliminated the genetically modified ingredients. Why do we like these carrots and zucchini better? No pesticides or herbicides were used on these. That's why I like them. And I've got a local farmer or a local CSA group growing these foods this way, and I've got a choice. This is the one I'm going to pick. You can make the choice on which one you're going to pick. Baby spinach, I'll take the local stuff, or it's organic. Again, obviously in the wintertime, you're probably not going to be able to get a lot of local spinach if you're in the Midwest. But this is where you can go to frozen spinach. You ever seen frozen organic spinach chopped up? It's in the freezer section. You just wring that out real good because there's a lot of water in it. And you use that in lasagna. It works great. Works really well. So frozen is good too. And the mozzarella cheese, again, we want to make sure we're getting organic. Here's an addition to the recipe. If you've got a recipe that maybe lacks a complete protein, now there was some dairy in that skillet lasagna, but I want to add some grass-fed ground beef to it. So this is how I'm going to add some protein, and I'm also going to add some fat to the recipe. Not a lot, because grass-fed ground beef is a lot leaner than conventional beef is. But also grass-fed beef has a lot of nutrients in it, because the animal ate grass its entire life, which has a lot more nutrition than corn. All right? So that completely remakes the lasagna. Does this make sense? You all have these recipes, various different types of recipes in your home. You can still use them. All you need to do is switch them out based on what you learned in Lesson 3. And then you can use inspiration from Lesson 4 and help you get it into a meal planning process. All right, now we're going to do a dessert, because I know you wanted to see this. Okay? So here's the traditional recipe. Looks pretty standard. Again, it's a fairly whole food type of recipe, but we can make it even better. So the remake. 3 eggs. Again, we want to know what type of life those chickens lived, because that will make a difference in the nutrients of that egg. And yes, you want eggs that have more nutrition in your desserts. Light brown sugar, highly processed. Let's do local honey. Why do I like local honey? Because it has allergens and enzymes in your area. And it helps to build immunity against those allergens. Those of you who have allergy problems with airborne allergies and things like that, local honey that has not been cooked will help you. It's actually that anecdotal kind of the hair of the dog type of treatment where you're getting a little bit of that allergen in the honey, and your body is actually getting it an opportunity to learn it and not respond so aggressively and inflame, and your eyes are itching and you're sneezing and all that. This is why, if I'm making a dessert, I'm putting raw honey in it from my local area. Because I like the enzymes in raw honey, I like the compounds. I like that a lot more than light brown sugar, let's put it that way. And I promise you the taste won't matter a whole lot either. And one thing you'll notice with the honey is if you want to tailor the sweetness back, because honey is really sweet, you can just use less. And honey will still be a great binder for a cookie recipe. Okay? Vanilla extract. You'll notice if you go home and you look at your vanilla extract, a lot of it you'll see vanillin, which is a chemical form of vanilla. You've got to make sure that you've got organic vanilla extract that came from a vanilla bean. Okay? And make sure that it doesn't have corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup in it, because they're adding all kinds of stuff like that to these extracts now, almond extracts and all that. Okay? Organic vanilla extract. Creamy peanut butter. Organic. One of the number 1 GMO crops in the country is peanuts. I want organic peanut butter because I don't want my peanuts to be genetically modified. I also don't want my peanuts sprayed with all kinds of pesticides and herbicides. Again, if I can avoid it, I will. That's just my choice. So we're going to do organic. And also, peanut butter has the most altered fat content of processed food. They used so much hydrogenated oils in peanut butter. So if you pick up most conventional peanut butters, you're going to notice partially hydrogenated soybean oil. Number 1, it comes from soy, which is a high GMO crop, right? And number 2, hydrogenated means trans fat, meaning it's a very dangerous fat for your body. So this is why organic is our choice for peanut butter. Again, we're not just doing it because it's a fad, we're doing it because we have reasons for it. Butter, dairy product, obviously we're going to go organic if we can. You can also get cream from a local grass-fed dairy, and you can just Shake it in a canning jar, and you'll have butter in about 5 to 7 minutes, depending on how fast you shake. It's good arm exercise, too. You should try it. We used to make butter all the time as kids, and we're starting to make it ourselves a little bit more now. It's easy, it's fun, and it's a lot cheaper than buying it in a stick. Remember, what was the differentiator in a butter? How are you going to know a butter has more nutrition in it? If it's yellow, that's right. You'll notice a butter from grass-fed animals will be deep yellow in color, and a conventional butter will be just white. It'll look like glue. And it will have very little flavor. Real grass-fed butter will have nutrients in it, it will have color, and it won't have color from dyes. You want to be careful from that too, because a lot of conventional butter has food coloring in it to make it look yellow. So I choose organic. Multicolored chocolate candies. How does that color get on those candies? It's called FD&C food coloring in the generally recognized as safe category. Generally recognized as safe. No, thank you. I will take Sunspire Sundrops because those chocolate candies were colored with vegetable and fruit pigments. I would rather not have food dyes in my food because I've read enough research that is linking food dyes to nervous issues and behavioral issues, as well as hormone issues. So, if I can make a difference, I will. Chocolate chips, same thing. If you look at some of the ingredient panels on chocolate chips these days, you're like, I thought this was just chocolate in a chip. How can that be so complicated? But they've got these ingredient panels that are just huge. And you'll notice there's all these processed, textured proteins and all kinds of lecithins and things like that. Doesn't need to be the case. You can find natural and organic chocolate chips now, and you can look at the ingredient panel and find the shortest ingredient panel you can, and you probably got yourself the best chocolate chip you can find. Raisins, which started out as a grape, can be organic, just like your fruit. Obviously, we know what we're eliminating when we go for organic raisins. And oatmeal, I don't know if you'll find local oatmeal, but you definitely can find organic oatmeal. You want to find oatmeal that's not pre-cooked if you can. Bob's Red Mill is a good example. They've got some great stuff. Hodgson Mill has some good stuff too. So these are the oatmeals you want to look for. Does that make sense? How you flip these recipes around? You start making some changes, and all of a sudden you have eliminated a lot of chemical stuff that was in your recipe before, and now you've increased the nutrient content of some of the ingredients as well. So now even a dessert can be better for you. I'm not saying that that you can do desserts all the time, but I'm saying that you can make a lot better impact with a dessert than you could have before. Okay. Recipe strategy number 2. Maximize leftovers. I am the kind of person who, if it saves me time, I am there. So I really like leftovers. I personally think chili and lasagna and those types of foods taste better the second day, once they've gotten together a little bit. Kind of worked all together and the flavors got together. So these types of foods here, roasting a chicken or a turkey and having stock left over, beef roasts, making a sandwich out of it, soups and stews, meatloaf or meatballs, things that you can just throw kind of a whole bunch of stuff and bake it together and have half of it left over for the next day. And then you change how you use it. These are the types of things that will save you immense amounts of time. We love chili because you can use your grass-fed hamburger, you can use your organic beans and tomatoes in there. And again, it's a very well-balanced meal. It's got a lot of nutrition, but it's also really quick. And then egg bakes and casseroles, those types of things are fast and extremely convenient. Not to mention extremely affordable because eggs are one of the more affordable proteins and nutritious foods on the planet. So let's take a quick break. I want to make sure, again, we're going to do our traditional stretching and breathing exercise here. So let's stand up. All right, deep breaths in. Expand that rib cage. Get some oxygen flowing. Get a second to kind of process what we're learning here. All right, one more deep breath and go ahead and have a seat. All right,